Hello, Fragrance family. Welcome to Fragrance Therapy. I'm your host, Alam. Now, sneak peek for what's coming the rest of this week. We have the new Al Haramain Amber Oud Smell Dubai. We got 9 p.m. Night Out, Hawas, London. So just stay tuned for all those reviews. But we're here to talk about Lattafa today. And let me tell you something. Lattafa is changing the game here. Like, designer brands need to watch out because they are leaning into creating these high quality original creations. They ended the year with 2 new original creations. The first one was Musamam Black Intense. This thing is absolutely incredible. Came out at the end of the year, but still managed to make my top 30 clones of the year list. And not only was it on the list, but it was like maybe around like 12, 15, something like that. Around the same time, they also released what I'm reviewing today, which is Eternal Vanille. Now, this one also came out end of last year, but this one was a lot harder to get than the Musamam Black Intense. That one was incredible. Let's see if this one reaches the heights of that one. So just like Musamam Black Intense, Eternal Vanille is also an original creation. It also uses the same captive ingredient that was used in this, which is cocoa pulse. If you're not aware, captive ingredients are fragrance accords that were made exclusively for the company that owns them. And they have exclusive rights on that accord. No other fragrance house can use them. And honestly, captives is what makes fragrances harder to replicate. Let's look at the notes. On top, you get blackberry. In the mid, you get that captive ingredients of cocoa pulse. You get some additional cacao, vanilla caviar. In the base, you get akigala wood, cedar wood, tonka bean, musk, benzoin, and some amber figs. Now, don't get me wrong. This is absolutely a gourmand, but this is not your typical sugary, sweet cupcake type of vanilla. This one is just as much about those dry, woody, and earthy notes as it is of the gourmand notes that are in here. This thing opens with this tart blackberry, but honestly, that note is kind of fleeting. It really comes to life in the mid, that's where you get that cocoa pulse and you get the vanilla caviar. And don't let cocoa pulse scare you because it's not just straight up chocolate. It actually combines cocoa butter absolute with akigala wood. It creates this creamy, buttery, slightly spicy, subtle chocolate scent profile. Look, I am not the biggest chocolate guy when it comes to men's fragrances. And I'm absolutely good with Cocoa Pulse. I think they're used fantastically in both fragrances. And like I said, it's not this like overly sugary gourmand because that dry down is fantastic. You get woods, you get some tonka bean, you get some ambers and benzoin. It balances the entire thing out, makes it a super wearable gourmand fragrance. I would say this one leans masculine, maybe about 55%, 60% masculine. I think women will do just fine with this one, especially if you're okay with some of those deeper woody notes that really show up in the base. What it reminds me of, not exactly like either of them, but this kind of reminds me of like Nishane's Ani mixed with Maison Margiela's By the Fireplace. Deep, rich vanilla with some spices mixed with like a smoky, woody undertone. But again, not as smoky as By the Fireplace, so if you're not into those smoky woods, don't let it scare you. Just a vibe that I'm getting. Another one with exceptional longevity. Right out of the box, I'm getting 8+ hours. Projection is solid. It sits a little bit closer to the skin after the initial hour, but it's kind of designed to be that kind of fragrance. Best for the fall and winter. I think you can dress it up, you can dress it down. Think like sweater and a khaki all the way to like dress pants, blazer, or even a suit and tie. But definitely avoid this one in the high heat. So the question is this thing blind buy safe? I would say, if you're into like woody, dark, spicy vanilla fragrances, with a slight chocolatey, buttery texture, then yes. It even reminds me of one of my favorite releases of last year. This one right here, which was French Avenue's Axis, which is inspired by Byredo's Vanille Antique. It gives me off that kind of vibe, but again, not exactly the same thing. But if you're looking for something like super sweet, edible vanilla with like that traditional vanilla extract smell, this is not for you. What would I rate this out of 10? I'm going to give it a solid 8. This is what I look for in gourmands. Something that is more deep, has more depth, not just like edible dessert in a fragrance bottle. Not simple, has some complexity. Maybe some people might find that challenging if you are looking for that like edible gourmand type fragrance. It doesn't quite reach Musamam levels. This is maybe a 9 out of 10. The more I wear, it's maybe a 10 out of 10. But still, nevertheless, an excellent, very good release that I'm happy to reach for on the right occasion. Man, I really do love this from Lattafa, right? Give me original creations along with your dupes, Also, I love this hybrids that they're making, not getting stuck in one lane. And if they keep doing stuff like this at this price point, man, designers better watch out. So there you have it, fam. My thoughts on the newest release from Lattafa, which is Eternal Vanille. Let me know in the comments if you've tried this one, or even Musamam Black, and what do you think about these fragrances? Would you prefer Lattafa stay in their lane of dupe and clone fragrances? Do you like their hybrids, or do you prefer some of the original creations like this, and like Teriaq Intense? Also, please hit that like and subscribe button so we can keep growing this channel together. A lot of other fragrance reviews coming out this week, so stay tuned. Until next time, I'm out.